Really quickly, before you watch this, I was listening back to the audio, and I'm really sorry about all the noises that the birds make in the background. They belong to my brothers. And they're currently in my room because the boys have the cats in their room, and cats and birds generally don't mix very well without something dying. I'm so sorry about the audio. In the future, that should be fixed. But aside from the birds squeaking in the background, I hope you guys enjoy the video. Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. As you can see, I have moved into my new room because the background isn't the same, obviously. But things haven't quite been set up yet like I hoped they will. I hope this wall won't be always so incredibly bare. In fact, I'd like to do some wall stickers and maybe a shelf of either like my TBR list or what I've been recently reading. Speaking of which, if you guys have comments about that, please feel free to leave that down below. But in short, we're not here to talk about my room. We're here to talk about Wattpad. So everyone knows it's fun to write about royalty and read about royalty, which is why I've gotten 3 Wattpad books for you today about royalty. So just to give you a quick introduction, Wattpad is this huge online platform where you can publish original works and fan fiction. And it's great for college students and high school students and really anyone who doesn't have money because it's a completely free online platform. So if you're on a really strict budget, this is your ticket. Our first book that we'll be looking at today is Frost by E. Latimer. So essentially what happens in Frost, there's this girl named Megan, and the first time she kisses a guy, she nearly freezes him to death. Kind of reminds me of Elsa a bit. She gets caught up in this whole other fantasy world, and eventually there's a love triangle. Actually, it's kind of funny. There's one guy who has this fire power, and then there's one guy who has this ice power. So it's like fire and ice, except that's not really the romance itself. It's more like the two guys she has to choose between. And you might not see it yet, but yes, this most definitely is a story about royalty. You'll have to read a bit further on your own to find out how exactly that happens because I don't want to spoil anything for you guys. Our next book is The Season by Miss Katie. So essentially what happens in The Season, it's like The Selection, but in Victorian England. So all these competitors come in and try and compete for the prince's hand. And he has to choose one of them, ideally by the end of the season, that is going to be his future queen. When the book opens, Libby's being scolded for her very bad behavior, for capturing frogs and releasing mice into rooms and things like that. So she's obviously not quite the ideal candidate for queen. And in fact, she isn't supposed to be one of the candidates for queen. Her cousin needs another lady-in-waiting to tend to her. So Libby packs up her bags and arrives at the palace. Except, of course, she doesn't anticipate falling in love with the prince, which is really kind of a bad situation because, again, she's not one of the competitors. She's not really even supposed to be there. So it's really fun to see how this plays out. It's kind of a mix of historical romance and fantasy. There isn't specifically any magic or anything, but the setting does appear to be fictitious. So it's really fun to see their relationship develop over the course of the book, and I really enjoyed this. The second book, it's quite a bit more complicated as far as plots and things, and I definitely recommend that. In fact, I'm hoping to review that book later on here as well. And then for our final book, we have The King's Cursed Bride by yours truly. Carissa is betrothed to a man she's never met. She is in fact betrothed to the king. But she also has this curse that her parents keep warning her about, but she's never seen evidence of it, and she's never seen it come into play into her life. She gets tired of waiting for the king because he never comes to marry her. She runs away and decides to forge her own life. Except, that doesn't go quite as planned. But it's a work in progress, so I won't tell you too much about it. I'm only presenting this here because I wanted to do a third book, and I was planning on doing another fantasy, but I haven't received the cover image yet, so hopefully I'll show you guys that book a little later. And those are all the Wattpad Royal books. So now you have a few Wattpad recommendations for some book about royals if you're on a tight budget and you want something that's, if you want to read some quality writing. Because the thing about Wattpad, it's a great place to practice your writing and to read free things, of course. But anyone can write on Wattpad, which means you get a wide variety of quality and stories. So hopefully these are a few books you'll enjoy. And speaking of enjoying, if you liked this video, please like it below or leave a comment about something else you'd like to see me review, or if you're on Wattpad and have any Wattpad book recommendations. And if you'd like to see more YA fantasy and romance reviews, please subscribe below. Thanks, and I'll see you guys next time.